All right. Shalom, salama. Good morning, everyone, wherever you're at, wherever city you're at, whatever time zone you're in. I want to welcome you all. I know that this was running a little late. Got the thumbnail up a little late, but that's fine. Have you all come on in? That's fine. Give me just a second. Okay, here we go. Yeah, my voice is coming back slowly but surely. Um, this season has not played with allergies at all, and so that's how it takes a toll on my voice. Actually, this is the very first time that the allergies have gotten so bad here that it took a toll, and also during that time, kind of changing elevations. I was in Georgia and Atlanta the week after last, and you know, being around the southeast, coming from a low level, sea level, up to a level of elevation, that definitely always hurts you, especially in these times. So, you know, everything gets affected, and you know, when my for the allergies, you know, it built up in my sinuses and it just went all throughout my body. And you know, you get mucus built up and everything else, like um dealing with things. I was trying to fight uh out potentially pneumonia. That's what I was trying to fight. And that's what my voice may be having, is that type of, pneumonia effect. So so a lot of clearing of different things, a lot of stuff that finally made it out the naval passage. And I always say, like, man, if that drip starts to get down, you know, past your throat and you know your stomach, things of that nature, yeah, it starts to follow, and it does some things to your body. It does some things. So you know, thank you all for your prayers. Just you know, working through some things, get the trying to get all the teas, all the herbal supplements, you know, drinking lemon and everything else. And it has helped. It has helped. It's just, you know, it's one of those things that, listen, if you weren't doing anything right, the enemy wouldn't be attacking you, because bottom line, why attack someone or something that's not effective? Why? You know, I say this, and I have to say this. I'm not the only one that can be on out here yelling to the roofs. I'm not the only one that can be on out here telling folks, "Hey, we got a shipping container. We need your help." We can't do it. I'll put my voice on out there, but my voice has to be amplified by hundreds and thousands of our people. It does. We have to be able to do some things that we haven't done before. And that's to be able to do things independently. That's to be able to drive, to have the drive and say, you know what, I understand what Brother Karras is saying, and then do something about it. We don't have time. I can't hold hands. You know the deal, you know the assignment. Look, if you're hungry, you're going to be able to find food. If you're starving, you'll be able to figure that thing on out real quick. And I look at this because I know preemptively, we're trying here to create the opportunity for us so that when people are saying that we're dying and we're hungry and we're starving, then we could say, hallelujah, we can help. Because if you didn't know, that's what's coming. That's what's happening next. And yes, family, we're the ones in that vulnerable population group that's going to be feeling the effects of this economy going down first. Yes, us first. We starve first. Then they starve after they're starving us out. So you all think it's fun and games until they start breaking out the book for real on delectable Negroes. I told you that, family. Do you think that they're going to be able to sell any type of real food, real meats other than pork? That's not even real. Everything in livestock, goats, sheep, cows, bulls, whatever you want to name it, all that cattle livestock will not be accessible to the American consumer. Because why? Because it has to go overseas. It has to bring back some sort of value or device. When people were saying this, and I know I've been talking about this. Shipping container, got to get the shipping container, shipping container, shipping container, shipping container, shipping container. I know I've been beating it like a dead horse. Shipping container. Because why? This is not financial advice. Excuse me. This is not financial advice. But a couple of hours ago, less than 12 hours ago, and you'll only get kind of bits and pieces of these interviews because these interviews are going to be in different segments of the media like Truth Social and other things. But it was April 7th. And I believe that Trump was either going to DC from Doral, which is his country club, golf club, to meet with the Eastern Mediterranean nation, all while this is happening. See, The plan is always this: when you go to a full scale war that will have serious repercussions, that will create division and potentially backlash, i.e., insurgency, civil unrest. The plan is always for a government. When you're dealing with that and that potential, you always have to starve out the masses and weaken them. You may have to even release biological warfare, i.e., that's why they took away the CDC. And then from there, you may have to starve them out, i.e., that's why they're crashing the economy. Because when you have a people that's too sick and that's too malnourished and famished from being in famine, you can easily control and manipulate that country. See, they play by a different playbook. I've read those playbooks and the many field manuals because continuity of government for them is it. You could flee, you could leave, you could do whatever you want. As long as you say that you are not going to try to have a difference of sovereignty within U.S. lands, U.S. spaces, U.S. territories, then you're all good. The moment that you say, you know what, we see it's happening, this is really bad, we need to do something about it. Okay, what are you going to do about it? We're going to carve out our little niche right there. And on this soil, on this territory, yeah, right. You are now labeled a domestic terrorist. Have you noticed the key words that they're throwing around? Domestic terrorism, domestic terrorist. Because why? Because they're trying to provide the arbitrary manner of how they will control and subject people. For Europeans, Caucasians that are here of European descent, guess what? They don't have an out anymore. Yes, over the last couple of weeks and in these next couple of weeks, the US dollar is going to die and collapse. As a matter of fact, it's dying right now. It's just going to die a much slower death of, I believe, between 30 and 60 days. Then you'll start to see everything being outpriced. I want to go there. I want to go here. That's cool. Do you have thousands of dollars to do it? Look, I'm telling you, I made that statement about 7, 8 months ago. I had T shillings. I have T shillings. I was telling you, I said I would sell my T shillings for my little 20,000 T shillings for $50,000. You know what I'm gonna do? When everything starts to really, really, really crash, when everything starts to really go up and smoke and up in flames, I'm gonna nice and niftily look at the T shilling rate and see what it is comparable to the USD. And I'm gonna try to make sure that when I see it at a one-to-one multiple donator, I'm not going to sell it at the 1-to-1 multiple donator. I'm going to sell it at a rate of 3,000 to 1. That's 3,000 USD to 1 T shilling. Because that's literally going to be the value. That is. Now, you all mark my words. That's what I plan on doing. Because what you all aren't understanding is that everything that's being done now is forcing the African nations to understand that they now have to start building and doing things on their own. See, the awesome thing was is that Tanzania understood, excuse me, not Tanzania, Burkina Faso understood the assignment. And he understood that assignment last year. Last year was an historic reach out to the African diaspora. This is ultimately where this container ends up. It ends up in the hands of President Captain Ibrahim Traore. Can we send our brothers and sisters over on the continent a gift in the midst of this economic chaos? Can we muster up another $40,000 before this price jumps up? I thank you for the 85 donations. It was never going to be easy. Do you think that after all of this economic collapse is going on, that it's going to get easier? It's going to get harder. This allows us to move our projects forward. Projects that we can tell you about and projects that we're working on in the background. Many of us are working on different projects in the background. And guess what? It became stymied. You want to know why? Because a lot of the countries that we were working with, they were going to work with us because they were getting free dollars, free money from USAID. So when they decided to actually start to work with us, guess what ended up happening? Their money collapsed. USAID pulled back. Surprise, surprise. Like they couldn't see what was going on. Like they didn't know what was going on. I think that that's probably fake news, but I'm pretty sure that's fake news. You gotta understand all of this stuff, all of these disinformation campaigns, they're now coming on out because Traore is now a dictator. Traore is this, Traore is that. He ain't working with anybody from the West. The only people he's working with from the West is literally Russia, if you want to call that the West. This is all fake. You all know, like literally they do this in cycles. You all remember last year, right before Garth and I went over to Burkina Faso, they had a disinformation campaign. Why do you think they have a disinformation campaign right now? Because they closely monitor these types of channels. Come on. I don't understand. I pray that we start to get it as a people. One day, I pray that we start to get this as a people. They're going down and they want to take us with them. I'm requesting that we have by next Tuesday, April 15th. And really, we don't have much time longer after that. Understand that even with these shipping containers, even with these shipping containers, whenever these markets are in volatility, the price that you have now will not be the final price at the end. So, no, we don't have 2 or 3 months. Technically speaking, we really don't have 2 or 3 weeks. It's just that things have to catch up, and then supplies have to catch up, or excuse me, the monetary differences have to catch up because people are still trying to figure things on out of what is still in their budget and what's not. And when you have to raise prices, raising prices, it's not very good. So what does that mean? That means we as a people, we have to be able to come together in this time more than other. This is a critical time. I don't know how else you want to say it. Canadian Prepper got it right. Right after this, we're going to war. They'll build up their war narrative. We're going to go to war. We'll start off with war in Iran, fighting against Russia directly, and then we'll also be fighting against probably Europe via proxy because Europe isn't having and they're not wanting to eat our complete collapse. They're going to want to what? Make their money back. Now that balkanization of the U.S. that Yakoba has showed, Taya and Yakoba showed a couple of years ago, now you understand why that is much more likely within the next, not just 5 years, probably the next 2 or 3 years. What happens when the U.S. has a complete collapse? Well, they're going to go to people that can help, i.e., South America, Mexico, i.e., Europe, i.e., Canada, i.e., China, and Russia. You remember in that balkanization plan, Russia had all of Alaska. I wish I could find it. I'm probably not even able to find it, or they may not even be able to show it. That may have been one of the YouTube goes after our videos. They go after our things. And they do go after our channels. Yes, they do. That's why I say for here, for now, quite honestly, I don't know how much time we have, especially on these channels. Who knows what will be done in the next 15 days, 14 days at the height of their religiosity, not just not Passover, but Easter, Ishtar. And then organizations like this and people that think the way that we think, Israelites, another persecution will begin. You think we're going to get out of here easy? We got to destroy all the dissidents. That includes us. What did we do? Did we do anything wrong? Nope, we never did. However, we were always a target, and they knew and they know that we're always a target. I could show you all the things here. Let me just tell you. I want to show you this. Understand when the word says lies and shadowy talk, it really means it. I'm just going to show this for the purposes of education. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent says Americans are ready to are Americans ready to retire aren't worried about day-to-day market fluctuations, and they should be, because this is the man that's in charge of putting money back into these hedge funds. These are the settlements, the secondary market settlements. And he's on up there literally shaking and nodding his head and says, there doesn't have to be a recession. And there is going to be a recession. Let me just read this. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent on Sunday dismissed concerns Americans might be having about a potential impending recession and the status of the retirement plans, saying President Donald Trump and his administration are building a long term economic fundamentals for prosperity. Understand their thoughts of prosperity is not your thought. And yes, they could still go after your savings account. And yes, they could still settle on your account pennies on the dollars. You just saw that last year with FDIC. So they're lying to you. And as they're lying to you, they're going to tell you everything in the world that's a flippin' lie. Because you want to know why? Because they know that a lot of people just love the lies. They love it. He says, in fact, most Americans don't have everything in the market. He added, people have a long term view. Yeah, they don't may not have everything in the market, but when the market goes down, guess what? The banks have to consolidate, and the banks will do what? They'll take your deposits. And when the banks take your deposits, guess what? People start getting scared, trying to do what? A run on the banks. So why is he saying this? Because he's trying to prevent a run on the banks. That's what I said. Come like probably in about 2 weeks, less than. We got to get this container out. We have to. I had said that last week on Covenant Awakenings. 200 to 250 people. 200 to $250. We did, if we were able to do that, $200 to $250 per person. I get about 1,800 views. Imagine $40. If everyone were to do $40 for the container, it's not investment. It's not. Because the idea of investment is the idea of greed, and their greed is catching up to them. Greed is not good. That's why nobody wants to do business with them in the world. Do you understand? Babylon is fallen. Babylon is fallen. All of her fine wares, all of her merchandise. Go ahead and fall right along with Babylon. I'm trying to get this container out to Burkina Faso. I'm trying to let our brothers and sisters on the continent know that we're serious and we're ready to do business. That we want to come together as two sticks, that we want to bring a gift. Do you not think that they don't want to do business with us? They do. Do you not think that they don't want to build with us? They absolutely want to build with us. But the way that we've learned in the system has been backwards. Free money, easy money, wrong. It's always been about relationships. And this is the most critical diplomatic mission that we as a people can undertake right now. And that is to literally get a container out on the water to get over to Africa. If anybody has something else, something different, let me know. If anybody has a solution, let me know. But this was exactly where the Most High and what the Most High did for this setup. If you think the Most High has a different plan, where a favorable letter is provided in another area, another arena, we have the favorability letter from the Office of Big Projects of the Presidency of Burkina Faso. If any other organization has that, let me know. What's everybody else doing? Sitting there shuddering in fear because they don't know what to do next. Because they don't know if they're going to have a job by the end of this week. Let's just call it what it is. Don't be scared now. You Many of our people may not have a job by the end of next week. That's how I got taken out 2 years ago. And look where the Most High has us. See, the crazy thing is that I did everything that I needed to do. I did. I realized that. I did what I needed to do. Now it's on our community. It's on our people. Are you all going to step up? Are you all going to let your friends, let your family, let your coworkers, are you going to step up and talk to people? Are you going to step up? Last year, that May time frame, I didn't know what the Most High had for Garth and I. But I went there in boldness and I talked and I spoke up. And I spoke up for our people. I spoke up for the African diaspora. I spoke up for Q2UA and Q2UA's enterprises of being able to form the relationship. I spoke up. I did the, and now we're here in a time to where they're literally saying they're saying this is showing it. Get ready for Black Monday. Because why? Even the president said, look, Dow futures fall 800. Yeah, it was already down 1,000 after Trump's Trump statement. He's not stopping anything. The only thing that's going to stop the market is the market itself by turning on the circuit breakers. Let's take a look. I'm showing you what's happening in real time. 7:05 a.m. updated. Dow futures fall 800 points. S&P 500 eyes bear market on Trump tariff market collapse. Live updates. U.S. stocks were hit once again on Monday as the White House remained defiant. President Donald Trump's rollout of shockingly high tariffs rates on most key U.S. trading partners has sparked a historic 3-day market meltdown. And you can see it's going to start getting crazier and crazier. So as folks are losing their money, they're holding on to money. Guess what also ends up happening? These other banks, well, they're trying to they're trying to not lose their money also. Look at that. 38,437. It came all the way down. It's almost 37,000. That's more. Look at this. Look at this. 38,437. It came all the way down. to 37.83. That's what they're anticipating. At the beginning of the market, they're trying to buy up as much as they can, and then they're gonna try to drop the price. They're gonna drop this price at close or at opening. It's gonna be good. We're talking. Don't look. Do you understand how this works? Everybody's lying to each other so they can take each other's money to then sell. How'd you think this was gonna work? When nobody believes the lie. See, when nobody believes the lie anymore, it doesn't work. This was the close. This was the close right here. Nobody believed the lie. So then over the weekend, when they heard Trump, it fell. And then this morning, it continued to fall on the futures below to 36,849 from 38,437. That's almost 1,600 on off hours trading. At 7%, they hit the circuit breakers. 7% of what they're going to open at, probably at 37. That's about 2,600 points. So if this goes below, let's just say 34,000 today, then I would say maybe 25,000. If this goes below 25,000, 35,000, they'll hit the circuit breaker. And I remember that. I remember that. That was a rough 14 months. So, the question that I have for each of you all, are you going to open up you all's mouths and let folks know that this is what we're doing? Yeah, see, they're gonna try to push this on up. They're gonna push this on up. Oh no, stock markets are gonna look good. Markets, these are the suckers that they're getting ready, that they're believing. They're trying to have them believe. These are the suckers. I kind of feel sorry for them, but I really don't. I don't feel sorry for their greed. I really don't. Because there's no undergrowth on in there. Europe is not Europe. They're not buying debts or the bonds. They're not buying any financial instruments. So, so if everything does, then not if it really is. When these things happen, who are people going to call? I don't know. I think that's all I got to say today. I think that's it. I've said my piece. Pray about it. Let your family know about it. And it's up to you all. All I could do is just say hallelujah and thank you and let the Most High's will be done. That's it. Let the Most High's will be done. So I will have to say, family, before I do depart, please be careful today. Please be very, very careful today because people are losing their money, they're losing their minds, and they are losing their jobs. There was a channel, a YouTuber, he had put on in there that people were asking for stimulus. And it's funny because people are asking for stimulus and they don't even know how the system works. They don't even realize that their system is a system on make believe, and everybody's taking their money and their value away from the make believe system. The Egyptians are crying out. Our captors are crying out. So, yeah, that's all I have, family. The link for the container is found below here and in the chat and in the description. It's okay if you aren't able to support, but guess what? Talk to someone who may be able to support. You never know what the Most High may place on that person's heart. Never know. So, with that said, Most High will, and I'll be back on tomorrow on Covenant Awakenings. and we will see how things have reacted. Yeah, see, everybody's trying to push the dip. Oh my goodness. This is horrible. All right, family. I gotta get going. We'll see how this thing plays on out. So with that said, family, shalom and salama.